Hello and welcome to this digital photo video tutorial. I'm Phil Hall and I'll be showing you how to rescue portrait shots when you get your lighting not quite right or the conditions aren't working in your favour. Lighting can make or break a good portrait. If you shot your subject in poor light without a reflector, then they can end up looking flat, too dark and without much impact. With a couple of Photoshop techniques, however, we can rescue the scene and bring back a bit of punch into your portrait shot. So we'll use selections, levels, photo filters and the brush tool to help emulate the effect we can achieve with a reflector. So if you'd like to open up lisa.jpg from this month's CD, we can crack on. As you can see, this is our finished image here. You can see we've lightened the face compared to our start image. We've just warmed it up a bit, added some catch lights, and it's made quite a difference to the shot. So I'll just close this one down and maximise our start image. The shot itself is working really well. We've got a nice blurred background thanks to a large maximum aperture we've used. The pose itself is looking really nice and natural. The trouble is, because we haven't used a reflector, the face is a bit too dark. So what I'm going to do is use a couple of Photoshop techniques just to bring a bit more punch back into the shot and lighten it a tad. So all we're going to be doing is concentrating on this face area here. So all I'm going to do is going to go over to the toolbox, select the lasso tool, click on it, and I'm going to make a rough selection of the face. So just around here, just quite quickly, and then release. So we've got our marching ants running around there, and that's our selection. So any changes are going to be applied in this area here. So we want to feather this selection, so we've got a smooth graduation between our changes and the rest of the shot, which is going to remain unaffected. So I'm going to go to Refine Edge, and then set a feather of around 90 pixels. If I go too small, you can see the graduation between our selection and the rest of the shot isn't that smooth. So we need to increase that to around about 90 pixels and then hit OK. So you can see as we've done that, our marching ants are looking a lot smoother. We've got a nice smooth selection now. Okay, so I think we're about to sort of ready to crack on. So I'm going to go to Window, down to Layers, and we've got our layers palette there. You can see we've got a single background layer there at the moment. We're just going to build up a few adjustment layers just to change the shot. Okay, so what I'm going to do is click on Create Adjustment Layer icon that's just above your background layer. Click on it and you'll have a selection of adjustments we can make to the image. I'm going to go for Levels, select it, you'll get this pop-up box appear. You can see we've got our histogram, and if I just drag this right hand arrow inwards, see the face start to lighten. Probably gone a bit too far there. If we go all the way up to the histogram, you can see it's probably just gone a little bit too harsh. So all I'm going to do is just drag it back a bit to around about 200. It's just made a nice change. You can see, click on that. Yeah, it's really starting to work. So I managed to pull that back already. So I'm going to hit OK. The good thing is using adjustment layers, we can hide it if we want, we can get rid of it. It hasn't affected our initial image. We can even go back and have a sort of if we have a change of heart, just click on it and we can carry on adjusting our shot. So the beauty is it's non-destructive, but I'm happy as I was, so I was going to hit OK. So we've made our levels change. I'm just going to make another change to the exposure. I'm going to click on the Create Adjustments layer icon again, and I'm going to go down to Brightness Contrast. Get this dialog box pop up with a couple of sliders. If I just increase the brightness, don't want to go too far, you'll notice as well, now we're making this change, that it's a universal adjustment. So if I go that way, the whole shot suffers. But I'll show you how to just rectify that in a moment by creating a clipping mask, which will just allow us to concentrate on that initial selection. But for now, I'm just going to focus in. I'm not going to worry about what's going on in the rest of the shot, on what's happening in the face. So if I go for around about plus 20 on the brightness and the contrast, I'm just going to give it a bit more zip to around about plus 13. It's probably just gone a little bit too far there, but I'm going to bring that back in a bit. But overall, I think it's looking good. So I'm going to hit OK. As you can see, as I've said, it's happened, or the adjustment's been applied to the entire image. So we now want to create a clipping mask, just return to that initial selection. So all I'm going to do is hold down Alt on my keyboard, make sure I've got my brightness, contrast, adjustment layer selected, holding down Alt, and then when I go to the line between that and our levels layer, you'll see the icon changes. If I just run over that, it changes like that, click on it, and you'll see we create a clipping mask. So if I just hide that now, you can see our adjustments only specific to our initial selection. So that's really quite handy, so we don't have to keep making selections again. We can just make a clipping mask and continue as we were. Okay, as I said, I'm just a bit concerned about how that's gone probably a little bit too far just on the cheek and the forehead there. So as I've said, it's non-destructive, so I can brush back some of that detail below. So making sure I've got my layer mask thumbnail selected, I'm going to go over to my toolbox, make sure I've got black as my foreground colour, select the brush tool, I'm going to set an opacity of around about 20%, and a brush size I want quite small, so I'm going to go for about 60 pixels. So I'm just going to use my left square brackets key just to reduce that in size to about 60 pixels. And all I'm going to do is holding down Control and plus, is I'm just going to zoom in a bit, holding down the space bar to move around the image. I'm just going to brush in just around there, just to bring it back a bit of detail so we haven't blown all the detail there. You probably just see it, just a hint of it, on our layer thumbnail. If I just close that, just bring it back a little bit more, and then we're done. So I'm just going to zoom out now, so Control and minus. And what I want to do now is just warm up the face, just to give a similar effect to a reflector. Okay, so with that, I'm going to, making sure I've still got my brightness, contrast, adjustment layer selected, click on Create Adjustment Layer again, but this time I'm going to go down to Photo Filter. So we get another pop-up box here. Again, as you can see, it's a universal adjustment. So I hide that, you can see it's affected the whole image, but we're going to make another clipping mask for that in a moment. So let's just focus in on how it's affecting the face. So we've got warming filter 85 here, but we've got a range of filters we can choose from. But the warming filter is the one we want. It's just going to warm the shot up nicely. And then I'm just going to increase the density a bit, just so it's around about 35%. If I just click off the preview, you can see that's had a nice subtle change. I'm going to hit OK. Then holding down Alt again, I'm just going to create a clipping mask. As you can see, it's only affected the face, and that's what we want. So if I just hide those changes for now, you can see we've only affected our initial selection, and you can see that's really starting to look good. I just want to finish that off by adding a catch light to the eye. So I'm going to go to Layer, New, Layer. I'm going to call this layer Catch Light, hit OK. You'll see we've now got a fifth layer called Catch Light. It's a blank layer at the moment, but all we're going to do is just get our brush tool and just very delicately just drop a catch light on the pupil of the eye. Okay, so I'm going to go over to my toolbox, make sure I've got the brush tool selected, white is my foreground colour. Then I'm going to go up to the brush presets this time, click on brushes, change from default to basic brushes because I want quite a hard edge on this. I don't want a sort of a soft edge. So I want something quite small. So I want a hard mechanical 7-pixel brush. I want to increase the opacity to 80%. Then all I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in on the eye. There we go. Just a bit more. All I'm going to do, very carefully, just one click, and there we go, we've got our catch light. So I'm just going to zoom out, and there we go, how to rescue a portrait that's flat and too dark. So we've used levels, brightness, contrast, and the photo filter to turn around the shot, and it's completely transferable onto another image. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers!